Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I move that we pull Bill 111 as substituted by my committee and further substituted on the floor to the top of the second reading file for me to make a very quick amendment.
On that motion, without any objections, so ordered.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that Madam Speaker, on Bill 111-31, as substituted by the Committee on Rules, Federal, Foreign, Micronesian Affairs, and Human and Natural Resource and amendment on the floor, I move that this be placed in the voting file with one amendment that we add Senator Tina Rose Muñoz Barnes and Senator Sam Mabini as the number 3 and number 4. As you recall, this amendment was made while we were discussing this bill in the second reading file, and then we went into the committee of the whole with a clean version, and this amendment was not restated while we were in the committee of the whole, and so I moved for that amendment.
On that motion then, without any objections, so ordered. On the motion to place then Bill 111 back to the third reading file without any objections, so ordered.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My second notwithstanding motion is that we vote on Bill number 70 without engrossment. The legal counsel and the clerk has provided a working copy as a courtesy to us, and that working copy shows all the amendments. However, because of the power outage last night, Madam Speaker, and the glitches with the generator, they weren't able to finalize that bill. And so, as a courtesy to them who worked all night to get the other bills engrossed, I move that we be able to vote on Bill 70 without engrossment. However, the working copy has been provided as a courtesy to us.
On that motion, without any objections, so ordered.
Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I move that we revert back to the legislative concurrence file.
On that motion, without objections, so ordered.
Madam Speaker, we are advised by our chairman of the Committee on Health and Human Services, Senator Rodriguez, that his committee is ready to have the legislature entertain the appointment of Dr. Kia Ramani to serve as a member of the Guam Board of Medical Examiners with his committee's recommendation to do confirm, and he'd like to have an opportunity to speak briefly on the nomination.
Okay. On that on that motion without any objections, so ordered. Senator Rodriguez, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Majority Leader. Madam Speaker, what I'd like to do is just report to the body that we have completed the committee report on the nomination of Dr. Kia Ramani to serve on the Guam Board of Medical Examiners. As you know, Madam Speaker, there were some issues brought up during the confirmation process. Those issues, the committee had done its due diligence in ensuring that we speak to the individual that was who brought up these issues, and also provide an opportunity for the nominee to respond to these issues. And so all of that have been appended to the committee report. Also, we had some email correspondence that I have provided the body as well. So I just want to make sure and assure you, Madam Speaker, that those issues were taken very seriously. Most of those issues really are issues that have been brought up in the past and have been resolved by another body. And so I think for us now, for me, I can speak for myself, my work now is to make sure that we look at the whole process, the whole board, the Guam Board of Medical Examiners, and what was brought up in this confirmation here, and see how we can improve moving forward. However, I just want to make sure that, and assure, just like I said, that we've done our due diligence, and now I bring it before the body to make that decision. So thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Very welcome. Senator Respicio, motion.
So then on the motion, Madam Speaker, to place the appointment of Dr. Kia Ramani to serve as a member of the Guam Board of Medical Examiners on the voting file.
On that motion, without any objections, so ordered.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And this time I make another, notwithstanding the House rules motion, that we just proceed to the voting file. and we leave it up to you to call on those bills that have been engrossed and ready for us to vote on.
Okay, so we are in the voting file, and the first item on the agenda is resolution number 24-31 COR. Resolution 2431.
Resolution number 24-31 COR, as introduced by Aileen A. Yamashita, PhD, relative to ensuring that the health, safety, and quality of life of Guam's community is preserved by requesting the Joint Region Marianas to implement noise mitigation measures to reduce the impact of military aircraft activities.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Adda. Senator Tony Adda. Senator Blas? Yes. Vice Speaker Cruz? Aye. Senator Dueñas? Aye. Senator Guthertz? Yes. Senator Mabini? Yes. Senator Muñoz Barnes? Okay. Senator Palacios? Yes. Senator Pangilinan? Yes. Senator Respicio? Yes. Senator Rodriguez? Yes. Senator Silva Tyron? Okay. Speaker Wampet?
Okay.
Senator Yamashita. Yes.
Resolution number 24-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Resolution 2431 is duly passed by this body. Bill number wrong place.
89.
89-31 LS. Substitute Bill number 89-31.
Bill number 89-31 LS, as substituted by the Committee on Health and Human Services, Senior Citizens, Economic Development and Election Reform, and amended on the floor, introduced by Aileen A. Yamashita, PhD. An act to add a new Article 9 to Chapter 3 of Title 10 Guam Code Annotated, relative to establishing the Guam Early Learning Council for Guam's Early Childhood Comprehensive System.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Adda. Senator Tony Adda.
Yes.
Senator Blas.
Yes.
Vice Speaker Cruz.
Aye.
Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Muñoz Barnes. Yes. Senator Palacios. Yes. Senator Pangilinan. Yes. Senator Respicio. Yes. Senator Rodriguez. Yes. Senator Silva Tyron. Yes. Speaker Wampet.
Okay.
Senator Yamashita.
Yes. Substitute Bill number 89-31 LS received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 89-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 97-31 COR.
Bill number 97-31 COR is amended on the floor. Introduced by Thea Muñoz Barnes v. Anthony Adda. An act to repeal and reenact Section 4502 to amend 4503 and to add a new Section 4510 to Chapter 4A and to amend Section 3231 of Article 2 of Chapter 3, all of Title 10 Guam Code Annotated, relative to the control and disposition of a dead human body and the burial and the duty of burial.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Adda. Senator Tony Adda.
Yes.
Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Muñoz Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez, Senator Silva Tyron, Speaker Wampet,
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 97-31 COR received 15 yea votes. Bill number 97-31 is duly passed by this body. Substitute Bill number 101.
Bill number 101-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and Judiciary, introduced by V. Anthony Ada, R.J. Respicio, Adolfo B. Palacios Sr. An act to add new subsections Y and Z to Section 8901 and new subsection I to Section 8903 and new subsections G, H, I to Section 8905, all of Chapter 89 of Title 9 Guam Code annotated, relative to limiting access and regulating the use of social networking websites, instant messaging, and chat rooms by registered sex offenders.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Muñoz Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 101-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 101-31 is duly passed by this body. Substitute Bill number 102-31 COR.
Bill number 102-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and Judiciary. Introduced by V. Anthony Ada, R.J. Respicio, Adolfo B. Palacios Sr. An act to add a new Section 89.14 to Chapter 89 of Title 9 Guam Code annotated, relative to the email addresses of registered sex offenders.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Muñoz Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat. Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 102-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill 102-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 106-31 COR.
Bill number 106-31 COR, as amended on the floor, introduced by Thea Muñoz Barnes, BJF Cruz, Adolfo B. Palacios Sr. An act to amend Section 3202J and K of Article 2 of Chapter 3, Title 19 Guam Code annotated, relative to the payment for solemnization of marriage by a mayor or vice mayor.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 106-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 106-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 122-31 LS.
Bill number 122-31 LS, as amended by the Committee on Public Safety, Law Enforcement and Judiciary, and further amended on the floor.
Again.
Introduced by Adolfo B. Palacios Sr., Judith T. Wampat, EDD, T. Siada. An act to add a new section 3336D to Article 3 of Chapter 3 of Title 16, Guam Code annotated, relative to increasing the penalties for drivers who disregard the safety of school children entering or exiting school buses.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 122-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 122-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 116-31 COR.
Bill number 116-31 COR, as amended on the floor, introduced by T.R. Munya Barnes, V.C. Pangilinan, B.J.F. Cruz. An act to approve the lease by and between the Government of Guam and the Guam National Tennis Federation by adding new section 77-125 to Title 21 Guam Code annotated.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 116-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 116-31 is duly passed by this body. Substitute Bill number 23-31.
Bill number 23-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Public Works, Transportation, Utilities, and Veterans Affairs, and amended on the floor. Introduced by M. Silva Tyron, T. Siada. An act to require a project plan of action for the reconstruction of the Billy and Pigua Bay Bridges in Meleso.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 23-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 23-31 is duly passed by this body. Okay. Amended Bill number 20-31 COR.
Bill number 20-31 COR as amended by the Committee on Appropriations, Taxation, Public Debt, Banking, Insurance, Retirement, and Land, and further amended on the floor. Introduced by T.R. Mooney Barnes. An act to zone lots numbers 2176-1-4 and 7176-1-R5 located in the municipality of Barragata as commercial zone to allow for commercial use on the property.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthert. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Okay.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 20-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 20-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 50-31 COR.
Bill number 50-31 COR introduced by R.J. Respicio. An act to repeal section 10-129 of chapter 10 title 3 Guam Code annotated relative to early voting service to the community.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthert. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat. Senator Yamashita. Senator Palacios. Speaker Wampat. Speaker Wampat.
Bungan. Bill number 50-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 50-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 88-31 LS.
Bill number 88-31 LS as amended on the floor, introduced by R.J. Respicio. An act to direct the Guam Election Commission to review and update procedures and policies contained in Title VI Elections of the Guam Administrative Rules and Regulations, and to recommend to Legislatura any necessary changes to Title III of the Guam Code annotated, all in advance of the 2012 elections.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya-Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyrone. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 88-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 88-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 108-31 COR.
Bill 108-31 COR, introduced by B.C. Pangilinan. An act to rezone lot number 20, block 9, Dededo Village Extension in the municipality of Dededo from multiple dwelling zone R2 to commercial zone C.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya-Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyrone. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 108-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 108-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 109-31 COR.
Bill number 109-31 COR, introduced by B.C. Pangilinan. An act to rezone lot number 13, tract 209 in the municipality of Dededo from one family dwelling zone R1 to commercial zone C.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Gutherts. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya-Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyrone. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 109-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 109-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 115-31 COR.
Bill number 115-31 COR as amended on the floor, introduced by Cruz M. Dueñas, Judith T. Wampat, EDD, F.F. Blas Jr. An act to add new subsections E and F to Section 75107 of Chapter 75 of Title 21 Guam Code annotated relative to requiring 2 appraisals of any Chamorro land trust property to be leased.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyrone? Speaker Wampat?
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita?
Bill number 115-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 115-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 68-31 COR.
Bill number 68-31 COR, as amended on the floor, introduced by Thea Munya Barnes. An act relative to granting a setback variance and density variance for lot number 54-2 remainder located in the municipality of Agana Heights.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyrone? Speaker Wampat?
I'm good.
Senator Yamashita?
Bill number 68-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 68-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 96-31 COR.
Bill number 9631 COR, produced by Thea Munya Barnes, introduced by Thea Munya Barnes. An act to zone the previously unzoned lot number 2181-4 new -R1 new, lot number 5200-3, and lot number 5199-1 in the municipality of Barragata to limited industrial zone M1.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyrone? Speaker Wampat? Senator Yamashita? Senator Pangilinan? Speaker Wampat? Senator Pangilinan? Speaker Wampat?
I'm good.
Speaker Wampat?
I'm good. Bill number 96-31 received 14 yea votes, 1 nay. Bill number 96-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 128-31 LS.
Bill number 128-31 LS, introduced by R.J. Respicio. An act to repeal and reenact Section 7103.1 of Chapter 7 and to add a new Section 1120 to Chapter 1, all of Title 3 Guam Code annotated, relative to authorizing the use of electronic voting machines with voter-verified paper ballots in Guam elections.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Duenas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 128-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 128-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 135-31 LS.
Bill number 135 LS as amended on the floor, introduced by B.J.F. Cruz, F.F. Blas Jr., Adolfo B. Palacios Sr., Judith P. Guthertz, DPA. An act to add a new section 10.17 to Chapter 10 of Title 8, Guam Code annotated, relative to the statutes of limitation on crimes of first or second degree criminal sexual conduct.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Duenas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 135-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 135-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 17-31 COR.
Bill number 17-31 COR, introduced by V.C. Pangilinan. An act to authorize the Magalahing Guahan to sell the severed Government of Guam Lot 2417-3 to the adjacent private landowner.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Duenas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 17-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 17-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 95-31.
Bill number 95-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Education and Public Libraries and amended on the floor. Introduced by M. Silva Tyron, B.C. Pangilinan, T.C. Yada. An act to amend Section 8103A of Chapter 8, Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, relative to expanding the Chamorro language and culture curriculum in public schools.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 95-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 95-31 is duly passed by this body. Substitute Bill number 70-31 COR.
Bill number 70-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Health and Human Services, Economic Development, Senior Citizens, and Election Reform, and amended on the floor. Introduced by Dennis G. Rodriguez Jr., AA, Yamashita, EDD. An act to establish the administrative rules and regulations of the Department of Public Health and Social Services relative to child care centers and group child care homes under Article 1 of Chapter 1, Division 1, Title 26, Guam Administrative Rules and Regulations, and in conformance with Article 4, Child Welfare Services Act, Chapter 2, Division 1, Title 10, Guam Code Annotated.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute Bill number 70-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 70-31 is duly passed by this body. Substitute Bill number 140-31 COR.
Bill number 140-31 COR, as substituted on the floor, introduced by B.C. Pangilinan. An act relative to enforcing and further prioritizing the payment of income tax refunds in accordance with the provisions of annual appropriation acts at a rate proportional to revenue collections by amending Section 51102 of Chapter 51 of Title 11, Sections 7101, 7102, and 7103 of Chapter 7 and Section 24413 of Chapter 22, Title 5, and repealing 22414 of Chapter 22 of Title 5 Guam Code Annotated.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat?
Dungan.
Senator Yamashita? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Rodriguez?
Substitute Bill number 140-31 COR received 7 yeas, 8 nays. Substitute Bill number 140-31 failed to get the required votes to be passed. Substitute Bill number 54-31.
Which bill is that?
Hmm?
Bill number 54-31 COR, substituted by the Committee on Health and Human Services, Senior Citizens, Economic Development, and Election Reform, and amended on the floor. Introduced by Chris M. Duenas, Dennis G. Rodriguez, Jr. An act to amend Section 7105 of Chapter 7 and Section 16301A, D, and E of Article 3, Chapter 16, all of Title 3, Guam Code annotated, relative to the primary election ballot.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Atta? Senator Tony Atta? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Duenas? Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat?
Pass.
Senator Yamashita? Senator Pangilinan? Speaker Wampat?
Pass.
Senator Pangilinan? Speaker Wampat?
Pass. Substitute Bill number 54-31 received 13 yea votes, 2 nays. Substitute Bill number 54-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 105-31 COR.
Bill number 105-31 COR, as amended on the floor, introduced by Adolfo B. Palacios Sr., Judith T. Wampet, EDD. An act to amend sections 3232 and 3233B of Article 3, Chapter 32 of Title 17 Guam Code annotated relative to providing the Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission with administrative and professional services necessary for the conduct of its activities.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Good.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 105-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 105-31 is duly passed by this body. Substitute Bill number 111-31 COR.
Bill number 111-31 COR, as substituted by the Committee on Rules, Federal, Foreign and Micronesian Affairs, and Human and Natural Resources, and amended on the floor. Introduced by Chris M. Paris, Aileen A. Yamshita, Ph.D., T.R. Munya Barnes, S.A. Mabini. An act to add a new Chapter 70 to Division 6 of Title 5 Guam Code annotated relative to establishing the Guam Invasive Species Council, to establishing the Guam Invasive Species Inspection Fee and Fund, and to authorizing the Department of Agriculture to establish a biosecurity division.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat. Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 111-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute Bill number 111-31 to be passed by this body. Bill number 152-31.
Bill number 152-31 COR, as amended by the Committee on Public Safety, Law Enforcement, and Judiciary, and further amended on the floor. Introduced by Adolfo B. Palacios Sr., F.F. Blas, Jr. An act to amend sections 77109, 77110.1, 77110.2, 77110.3, 77110.4, and 77112, and to repeal section 77110.5, all of Article 1 of Chapter 77, Title 10, Guam Code annotated, relative to the qualification requirements for uniform management positions within the Guam Police Department.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat?
Hungan.
Senator Yamashita?
Bill number 152-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 152-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 27-31 COR.
Bill number 27-31 COR as amended on the floor. Introduced by R.J. Respicio. An act to amend section 19-117 of chapter 19 of Title 3, Guam Code Annotated, relative to campaign advertising, and to provide for penalties for violation of this chapter.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat?
Hungan.
Senator Yamashita?
Bill number 27-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 27-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 126-31 LS.
Bill number 126-31 LS as amended on the floor, introduced by V. Anthony Ada, T.R. Munya Barnes, Judith T. Wampat, EDD, V.C. Pangilinan. An act to amend section 8103 of chapter 8, title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to allowing the recording of open meetings.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat?
Hungan.
Senator Yamashita?
Bill number 126-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 126-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 15-31.
Bill number 15-31 COR as amended on the floor, introduced by F.F. Blas Jr. An act to establish a policy for the approval of workforce housing facilities for temporary workers.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada? Senator Tony Ada? Senator Blas? Vice Speaker Cruz? Senator Dueñas? Senator Guthertz? Senator Mabini? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Senator Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Rodriguez? Senator Silva Tyron? Speaker Wampat. Speaker
Okay.
Wampat.
Good.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 15-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 15-31 is duly passed by this body. Bill number 155-31, substitute bill.
Bill number 155-31 COR, as amended by the Committee on Appropriations, Taxation, Public Debt, Banking, Insurance, Retirement and Land, and further amended on the floor. Introduced by D.C. Pangilinan, Judith T. Wampat, EDD, T.R. Bunyo Barnes, V. Anthony Ada. An act to deappropriate the sum appropriated and transferred by Magalahin Guahan during fiscal years 2004 through 2009 for expenditures related to the municipal solid waste landfill facility and the closure of the Ordo Dam, and to reappropriate said sum amount for the payment of emergency income tax refund for tax year 2009 and prior, and to appropriate $500,000 to the Department of Public Works for the Umatic and Marisu cemeteries.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada.
They're going to fix the title. Yes.
Senator Tony Ada.
Yes.
Senator Blas.
Yes.
Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Again.
Senator Yamashita.
Substitute bill number 155-31 received 15 yea votes. Substitute bill number 155-31 is duly passed by this body. Okay, we have not, we still have 3 more bills to receive. 26-170. I don't have 26 anywhere. I don't have it, so can I make sure I get a copy then, please? 26? No, I don't have 26. And 170. And 157. There's supposed to be 3 more bills, 26, 170, and 157. I don't have any of those. But not me, nobody gave me. Well, it's on my list here, so it's not supposed to be here. So 170. Vote on Bill 26-31.
Bill number 26-31 COR is amended on the floor, introduced by F.F. Blas Jr., B. Anthony Ada, M. Silva Tyron. An act to rezone a certain partial and the municipality of Tamuning from multiple dwelling zone R2 to commercial zone C.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Ongan.
Senator Yamashita.
Bill number 26-31 received 15 yea votes. Bill number 26-31 is duly passed by this body. Substitute Bill number 157-31 COR.
Bill number 157-31 COR are substituted on the floor. Introduced by R.J. Respicio. An act to add a new section 4121 to Chapter 4 and a new section 2103.2 to Chapter 2 of Title 5, and to repeal and reenact Section 1106 of Title 2 of the Guam Code annotated, to provide for the suspension of the salaries of Himagalahinguahan, Isigundu Magalahinguahan, and the senators of Legislaturanguahan in the event of a government shutdown caused by the failure to enact an annual operating budget for the government of Guam in accordance with the Organic Act.
Roll call.
Senator Tom Ada. Senator Tony Ada. Senator Blas. Vice Speaker Cruz. Senator Dueñas. Senator Guthertz. Senator Mabini. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Senator Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Rodriguez. Senator Silva Tyron. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Yamashita. Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Substitute Bill number 157-31 received 14 yea votes, 1 nay. Substitute Bill number 157-31 is duly passed by this body. Yes, Senator.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to move that the body reconsider its actions on the vote of Bill 140 on the next legislative day.
On that motion, without any objections, it's ordered. On the appointment of Dr. Kai Ramani to serve as a member of the Guam Board of Medical Examiners, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, Pat, make sure, Pat. Okay. Dr. Ramani then received unanimous support, so he's duly confirmed by this body. Okay, so we've exhausted all of the bills on the voting file and confirmation. Senator Respicio, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before I move to adjourn subject to your call, I want to again take the opportunity to recognize the amount of work that went into this particular session. I think historically we've addressed 41 agenda items on the third reading file. And a lot of that is a result of every single office here in the legislature, together with the committees, Madam Speaker, as well as the legal counsel, the minority counsel, and the clerk and her staff. So please join me in giving them a big round of applause. They've worked. They've worked every single night for the last week and a half in order to prepare these bills to be voted on today. And it just goes to show that you just keep raising the bar for us and for this legislature. So having said all of that, Madam Speaker, I move that we adjourn subject to your call.
I was going to say, having said all of that, just don't do it again.
No, well, 41 items this time. Maybe we'll have 50 items next time. I don't know. That's what we are. That's the result we get when we're a deliberative body, but we're a cooperative body.
So this legislature then will be adjourned subject to the call of the Speaker. Thank you.